Who the hell can wait till morning? Talk now at latenightsportsradio.com.
Millionaires are being made all season long at DraftKings.com, America's favorite one-week fantasy football site.
1 week fantasy means no season-long commitments. Play whenever you want.
Got a player who's hurt? No problem.
Injuries won't derail your shot at victory because it's like a new season every week, so you're never stuck with the same players.
Pick your team in minutes, and you could be on your way to winning huge cash.
This season, one listener turned $10 into $5,000. Another turned $2 into $10,000.
And a new millionaire has been crowned nearly every week this season at DraftKings.com.
You could be next. Imagine winning $1 million in one day just playing fantasy football at DraftKings.
Head over to DraftKings.com now and use promo code Spreaker to play free in the $10 million Fantasy Football World Championships. DraftKings.com, bigger events, bigger winnings, bigger millionaires. Enter Spreaker now at DraftKings.com. DraftKings.com, that is DraftKings.com. It's been thrilling, titillating, and somewhat toxic, but in a good way.
And welcome back to the friendly confines for yet another fine edition of the Claire-vs-Carlson Show. Take two. There are many things you can put in your ears. This is one of them. We are part of the Late Night Sports Radio Network, latenightsportsradio.com. She is Claire, Elf on the Shelf, Santa's Little Helper, Mullins at the Claire Bear 23 NFL Female Podcast. I'm Andy Carlson at Andy Carlson Show, Purple for the Win, Football Convos, all that other good stuff. We can be found on Twitter at Claire vs. Carlson, also on YouTube, also on iTunes under Late Night Sports Radio, also on Facebook.com. Lots of good stuff. Claire, how's it going?
Yo, never better.
Now, never better is, all right, so that's positive, right?
Yeah, that actually is positive.
Because it's the holiday season, so aren't you smiling? And isn't there cheer for little girls and boys, and you're giving out cocoa to carolers and all that good crap?
Carolers. Like, do people do that still?
Probably, but probably not where we live. I don't think I've seen... Actually, you know what? I think there are carolers in our town that go around, except it's...
Really?
Yeah, except there's no snow right now. It's been a really weird weather season up here because it was freezing and snowy in November, but December's been pretty mild and there's zero snow on the ground.
Oh, well, okay.
I'm sure, I mean, it's not like your weather where it's just hot and...
No, it's pouring down rain for the past 12 hours here, so it's been lovely. Just lovely.
Now, is there any chance that you guys are going to be washed out for Christmas?
What exactly does that mean? Like it's going to be flooding?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I don't see... That's always a possibility.
Well, wasn't there like a flood warning on the coast of South Texas? Did I remember seeing that?
Was there? I have no idea.
I don't know. But we have a lot of stuff to get to besides our little holiday niceties, as this is the final Claire vs. Carlson show of 2014. We're taking next week off since Claire... Day after Christmas, she's got to get jump-started on her 2015 holiday shopping. Isn't that right?
Well, you know me.
It's the real Black Friday.
I'm not a Grinch. I'm definitely not a Grinch. Not me.
Actually, wait, are you a Grinch?
Yeah, I'm a Grinch.
Okay, we'll get to all of that. So our next show will be January 2nd in 2015. So this is it, Claire. This is the last of 2014 of your Claire vs. Carlson experiment. We've gone through 17 episodes, well, 16 for you. How do you think it's gone so far?
It's been thrilling, titillating, and somewhat toxic, but in a good way.
Oh, well, there you go. Speaking of illing, and we'll talk about North Korea a little later on, I always thought that if I became a Harlem Globetrotter, that my name would be Kim Jong-Thrill, because I think that would be so awesome.
I've never heard of anything more awesome.
Or my And One mixtape or Rucker Park playing name, that would be Kim Jong Thrill. Be awesome.
Well, yeah, I mean, everyone needs a playing name, so why not?
Even though I'm from the good part of Korea, the South Side, mofo. But we have a lot of stuff to get to. We are going to talk about a lot of hurtful stuff, really, for Claire, as Bae Cutler has been benched in Chicago. Johnny Manziel had his first start, and bye, Felicia. Bo Pelini had some choice words for his former boss, Nebraska AD, what's-his-face. Bears safety Chris Conte had some surprising words that we'll talk about. Jim Harbaugh is going to get paid. Sony decides to pull the interview. Cuba wide open. Hello. And then also in segment 2, we're going to be talking about our top 10 2014 biggest stories in sports, because I tried to find a list that we could just read off of, and all of them are crap or pretty regional. And then also, I hate websites. I know they do it for the clicks, and it's good for ad revenue and all that good stuff, but I just hate slideshows. Slideshows piss me off.
I hate slideshows too. I won't do it. I will not do it.
See, I love lists, though, but I
Lists
just wish
are fun.
I just wish they were on one page, two max. But slideshows I just can't do.
No, me either, and I won't do them. That's why I refuse to even bother with anything Bleacher Report. Screw you, Bleacher Report. Quit making me click multiple times. I just want the freaking list.
And we'll also play a little game as Claire gets on the hot seat, and we'll play Bowl or No Bowl. And this is, of course, sampled from the Dan Patrick Show, but they're all right. We gave them credit for it. And so I'll run by a list of bowl names to Claire, and she has to tell me, is it a bowl or not a bowl? And there are some really wacky and wild stuff. I had a lot of fun in the research. And we'll get to our Week 16 picks, as well as Christmas, holiday, all that other nonsense throughout this episode of Claire-vs-Carlson Show. But first off, biggest story that we have is Jay Cutler being benched in Chicago. Jimmy Clausen, he's back, baby. Now, Jimmy Clausen is a funny story because you know it's pretty bad when you get benched, if you're Jay Cutler, by a guy who was benched on a 2-14 team as a rookie in 2010.
He has the worst everything in the NFL for starting quarterback since 2010.
Hair.
Yeah. Well, not to mention that statistically, he is awful. And so, yeah, Jay Cutler. And, okay, I have theory, and maybe it's crazy. Maybe I overthink these things. But my theory is that, obviously, okay, Jay Cutler sucked this season, but we all can pretty much anticipate Jimmy Clausen, they're not starting him because he's better, that they think he's going to do more. I think they're doing it because if Jay Cutler was to get hurt playing, that would exponentially decrease his trade value. So my theory is that they don't want to do that. They would like to keep as much of a value on him as possible so they can try and dangle him in front of teams who are that desperate for a quarterback. And, that the season's done. Put Clausen out there. What's it matter?
Well, do you think that Trestman might be doing this in an attempt to save his job and trying to throw Cutler under the bus? Because if he can get a win here, they host Detroit this week, and then they play Minnesota Week 17 at the bank up in Minnesota. If he can pull one win out of there with Jimmy Clausen, he could be like, I had success last year with Josh McCown, had a little success this year with Jimmy Clausen. It's the system. Jay Cutler's a problem.
Why on earth, if your quarterback is struggling to this degree, are you not going to put the ball on the ground in someone like Matt Forte's capable hands? I'm sorry, but Trestman is the guy orchestrating these game plans. And if your quarterback's struggling, you have a capable running back there. Why not show that you can win without Jay Cutler by keeping the ball on the ground as much as possible? Why else pull him unless you want him healthy for a trade partner down the road?
Now, they talked about potential landing spots for Cutler. Tampa with Lovey, who they coexisted fine while their time in Chicago, even though they went through like 17 different offense coordinators. Tennessee, since they're a mess, and Cutler obviously has Nashville roots, being from Vanderbilt and all. And then also Houston Texans. Come on, 6-shooter. Pew, pew. You're not telling me that Bill O'Brien could do some things with Jay Cutler, even though Cutler's was going to be 32 next year?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the availability of quarterbacks who are above average in the whole universe is what? 10? 10 quarterbacks in the world who are above average, okay?
As of right now, there are about 10 out of 6 billion people on planet Earth, or 6.5 billion people on planet Earth that are effective NFL quarterbacks, yes.
Exactly my point. So if you have a guy who has shown that he can be a somewhat effective NFL quarterback, but who has had questionable coaching, and you believe that you could, I mean, Bill O'Brien is an authoritative, quote unquote, it's kind of laughable at the moment, but he is a quote unquote QB guru. He has trained other coaches on how to develop quarterbacks. I mean, it makes sense except for the financial aspect. So that's going to be the big hang up, I think, for most teams in the NFL who would be able to get an established quarterback who is at the Jay Cutler level, even though Jay Cutler this season has been pretty deplorable.
Well, I threw this theory out here this morning, and a couple of pundits seem to think along the same lines that Jay Cutler, I don't think he loves football. It just seems like he doesn't have, or maybe it's all internal because it just doesn't seem like he shows that passion that a lot of the top-notch players do, and also just the work he puts into the game, the clip of him audibling to the wrong play and then just being like, damn it, at the line of scrimmage went viral this week. And then also just the fact that his footwork never improved, and that's something that you can get right just by working hard at the game, at your craft.
If you have somebody capable of teaching you. And also, let me also say, this is a job for Jay Cutler and most, not all, not a Chris Conte possibly, but for most NFL players, it's simply a job. And if you go to work every day at some place where you hate, where you don't enjoy, people do tend to get burned out. People tend to stop caring. And you've seen Jay Cutler play and get excited and have fun on the football field. And right now he is not having fun on the football field. And I'm not saying it's not Jay Cutler's fault to a degree. Yes, obviously some of it could be Jay Cutler's own attitude issues because he has attitude issues. We know this.
Now, do you think he would be a better player if he quit smoking?
Probably. It would probably be handy. Yeah. He should try E6. They're nice.
He probably should. And, gosh, I don't know, because everyone thinks that they're going to change Jay Cutler, but he's 32. He's a lot closer to the end of his career than the beginning, and he is what he is. And I actually kind of compared him to like an offensive lineman or a D lineman who doesn't love football but played it throughout their entire life and then just got to the NFL because they have the talent, they can make the money because they're 6'6", 300 pounds. There's only so many humans like that in the world. There's only so many humans in the world with an arm like Jay Cutler. So maybe he doesn't really love the game, but because he has the capabilities to do so, the God-given talent to do so, and can make a lot of money and set his family up for generations to do that, that could just be why he's in the game.
Well, I mean, Jay Cutler is one of those guys that everyone thinks they're going to change. And maybe,
he's like that. He's like that man. Oh, baby, I can change him. Mama, I can change him.
And maybe that's what, the Bears felt about him, or any team that Jay Cutler has played for. We can be the ones who change him. Well, okay, I'm going to get a little philosophical here, but change sort of has to come from within. Mm-hmm. And if Jay Cutler doesn't decide he wants to be a prolific NFL quarterback, then no matter what system he's in, Jay Cutler will never be a prolific NFL quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is.
It is true. Someone who does have a lot of love for the game is Cutler's Bears teammate, safety Chris Conte, who's been in and out of the lineups this year with various injuries. But he said, quote, he'd rather, quote, die 10 to 15 years earlier than not play in the NFL and have a long life, end quote. Now, I'm sure a lot of guys think this, but not a lot of them say it. And when you see it there in print or you hear the audio, it's really startling a bit, isn't it?
I'm not startled by that